Right now, it certainly is the biggest shock of the Olympic Games. Simone Biles pulling out of the women's gymnastics team finals yesterday. And today, the announcement that she wouldn't take part in the women's all-around. Biles says that she's just not there emotionally. And yet another sign of mental and physical strain for these athletes and all the pressure that they are under. Psychologist Dr. Lisa Orbe-Austin back with us today. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
So first we have to ask, Olympic athletes, they are the most elite in the world. Talk about that pressure to perform once every 4 years as opposed to maybe pro athletes who are kind of having dozens of games every single year.
I think what's important to recognize is that these athletes that are Olympians are stars in their own respective sports and are very much performing all the time. This is maybe the only time in which, once a year where we all see them and they have this opportunity to be on the world stage in a very public way, but they are often stars in their own sports and perform actually quite regularly.
Yeah, and she's been in the spotlight for 5+ years. Everyone knows the name Simone Biles. She said it's even tough being the head star. And as someone who has spent years competing under this pressure, can this specific moment just be too much?
I mean, she's someone who's performed in a bunch of different moments. And I think, where they've been heavily profiled and there's been a lot of weight on her. And I think you just never know what people are dealing with and all the different factors that may be playing into this particular moment for her. I think it's really important to be able to respect that, that she may be dealing with things that are different this time.
Between Simone Biles, Naomi Osaka, we've now had 2 women of color, young women, go public with some of their battles on the mental side. Do you think that sporting society is putting too much pressure on these women?
I think these women have a lot of pressure. And I think, as women of color, they have additional pressure. And I think it's really important to also recognize what they have done in these moments, to be able to recognize their mental health and prioritize it in a very difficult moment, I think makes them even more valiant and more of a hero.
Yeah, courageous for a lot of young girls out there. Now, when we talk about them being young women on the gymnastics side, Simone Biles is on the older side. Do you think that after this and after all of this Tokyo 2020 that she calls it quits?
I think what's most important is that we focus on not what she'll do next, but that she focuses on her mental health and decides what's best for her moving forward, and that we all support that. I think it's emblematic of what we all should be doing, is really thinking about, how our mental health affects our performance and what we should be doing to care for it.
Yeah, I think there's a reason for all of this, and we need to support her just as we would support her if she was performing in the sport as well. Dr. Lisa Orbe-Austin, thank you so much for joining us today again.